This limited Kintsugi Heroes podcast series was made possible through grant funding provided by the New South Wales Department of Communities and Justice Connecting Seniors Grant Program. If you'd like to find out more about Kintsugi Heroes, head to kintsugiheroes.com.au. Welcome to our Kintsugi Heroes special series, Connecting Seniors, where we share the experiences of ageing Australians to create connections across our communities. In this episode, John Millam sat down with Bradley Dowling, a dedicated community advocate and coach whose life story embodies resilience and positivity despite living with neurofibromatosis. Bradley's work with the Children's Tumour Foundation of Australia and his efforts in coaching young basketball players showcase his unwavering commitment to making a difference in the lives of others. Now, let's get to the conversation.
So, welcome listeners. Welcome to Kintsugi Heroes, Stories That Matter. And today we have a podcast in our Connecting Seniors series. A podcast I'm really keen to complete, have a conversation with an amazing guy, a bloke who is involved in community and has overcome challenges in his own life to make his life one of service, right? So, and I'd like to introduce you to Brad. Welcome, Brad.
Thanks, John. How are you?
Mate, I am very well. Thank you for being here and talking to Kintsugi and sharing, what can be challenging, right? Sharing your story, and your truth with the listeners today, mate. Much appreciated. So,
thank you.
Right. So, I thought I'd start, mate, with getting a quick idea, right? So this is Connecting Seniors. So the story is very much about how we, as we get older, how we maintain our engagement, our involvement with the world, right? The piece of world that is both about us personally, but also about making a difference, getting out in the world and being present. So what would you say is your most important areas of connection?
I think one of the important things, and there's two, well, actually there's three. I do part-time work for Cerebral Palsy Alliance. So I go in there Monday, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, two of the main areas outside is with the Children's Tumour Foundation of Australia, which is for people who have a condition called neurofibromatosis, which is the condition I have. And so I'll say it again, neurofibromatosis.
Neurofibromatosis, is that right?
That's right. That's right. So you can break it down. We say NF. So it's a genetic skin condition which affects different people in different ways. Mine is more noticeable because it brings out lumps around different parts of the areas of the body, especially the face. And so I actually help and actually advocate in a lot of areas to promote the awareness and promote the condition of that NF. And we'll say NF to make it easier rather than saying the whole word. So I've been doing that for quite a while. And so I do that through print media, or it could be through TV or through other means where we are promoting that you can do and live life with the condition that you have. And you do get stares and whispers, etc. through that. But it's actually been able to overcome that to let people know that you can still have a good and healthy life. And the other area is through a chaplaincy, now part of Chaplaincy Australia. And that will come along eventually, but also involve the local churches, one here in Ascot and one up on the Central Coast. So it's basically enabling to live life to the fullest, even though you've got obstacles to overcome.
Wow, that's a beautiful list, mate. So, and you talk about obstacles, and obviously NF is a part of you, but it's also has an impact on how you interact with the world. When did you first understand that you had something that was going to make your life a little different?
Well, we first found out when I was about 5, but really not understanding until probably late teens, early adults, where therefore the condition became a lot more with the lumps rather than anything else. So the lumps really didn't start appearing until late teens, early adulthood. And then we actually had to impact on that. I think, yes, there is difficulties. Yes, we had to work through it, but it doesn't mean you stop living life. It doesn't mean you stop, lock yourself up. We call looking outside the window, and means that some people with the condition may not go out. They may just look outside the window. And that was the title of an interview I did for a magazine a few years ago. And I think it's mostly in yourself. If you can find a way to overcome, and if you can find a way, and God gives me that, God gives me the grace to do that. And not every day is a good day. Not every day is that. And it's not saying, yes, we're going to have difficulties, but you have to admit that, hey, this is what's happening. This is what I've got. And so, yeah.
That's yeah, I love that, looking through the window, right? Just staring out at the world, the life that was out there, right? It's a really powerful image. Your early family life, does NF have other ways that it impacts on your well-being?
I've got
not just the external one.
No, I think I've got good family support. Of course, like Dad and Mum were heavily involved with the association, which was called NF Association. It's now called Children's Humour Foundation. I became involved in actually being able to do things that they needed. So they'd bring up and say, oh, this magazine wants someone to do an interview. Or I did a show a few years ago called You Can't Ask That, which was on the ABC. So they asked me to go on and do that, which I did, which was fantastic. It was a good response. But I think the importance is not being afraid to either do an interview, be in front of the camera, or help, because there's people out there that may not understand and may need someone that can help them to overcome what they have. And I mainly look around at NF or stuff. It could be anything, but, life is there to live and life is there to be enjoyed. And so, as I said, we talked about looking outside the window where people will stay inside, look out. And a lot of it has to do with the fear of the stares and whispers category. People will look at you, point at you, whisper. But I'd rather people come up and ask and say, hey, listen, what have you got? What's this? So I carry little blue cards, which got Q codes on it, and they can actually look up what it's all about. They can check it, the Children's Humour Foundation. They can go to Heroes, which I'm part of, and look at my story, and they can share that. So it's sharing things of who you are and how you keep going.
You mentioned that the powerful image of sitting and looking outside the window. To get outside, take that step, right? I can imagine that there's courage involved, that there's risk involved, and you said it was about the individual choosing finding a mindset to do that. How did you develop that mindset? What was the steps that led you to be in that space where you can do this and others sometimes
I'm not
can't?
sure. I think it's just the attitude. But, I got involved with children's church. I coached children's basketball. So there's certain areas that I got involved in. But I think the mindset was to be involved. And I've had a lot of people that beautiful saying, one of the things that they look at me and they said, oh, do you know what? We're very daunted and taken back when we first saw you. But you know what? After a while, we don't notice this condition. We just notice you. And that was a beautiful thing.
Does that make you encouraged? Does that keep you ticking over?
I think so. I think it's just encouraging to know that, and I'll tell people, I'll explain to people. But that's one of the lovely signs. I said, oh, we just don't notice your condition. We just notice you. It's simple,
What are you physically inhibited from doing anything? Does it actually manifest into stopping you from doing
No,
stuff?
I mean, you got to keep fit. Sometimes you have the lazy bones and just want to sit down and
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know that
but
struggle.
it never has. I mean, basically, it was just getting out and walking and exercising and stuff. So unless you a daredevil bungee jumper or stuff like that, then I haven't tried bungee jumping, but that's another story.
Well, we'll talk again after if you survive that, right? So,
it hadn't stopped me traveling. Many years ago, I traveled overseas and, I got a brother that lives on Norfolk Island. I got a brother that lives on Fitzroy Island. So I've been to both of those islands. So no, I mean, I drive a car. It's all part of the parcel, I've got an automatic, but I do like driving manual as well.
what are the things that you love to do? What's the favorite thing about Brad Dowling?
I think I like going up to the beach, having a swim, walk along the beach. That's kind of a way to relax. I do like to read a bit, but I think it's just every now and then a spur of the moment. Sometimes throw something in the car, go for a drive, and just stop. I don't play competition sport, but every now and then I'll get a golf stick and go down to the golf driving range.
Yeah. Well, there's no like everyone has that suffer for some reason, right? So golf, you're playing golf, right? You obviously enjoy suffering. I think.
Well, last time I played golf, Don Bradman was my score.
I get it.
Oh, well, let's just say, for modern day term, let's say Steve Smith.
Right. Well, I had to give up golf just to maintain my mental health. So. And maintaining mental health, right? How do everything is about connection, right? So if we go back to that idea, and you mentioned many things you're involved in, right? What's the how do those things like basketball? You coached, basketball. How does that help you maintain your well-being?
Well, basketball coaching, it's a bit of a long story, but it came quite accidental. But a lot of the kids which I coached were either loose connections, kids that hadn't got a team or couldn't find a team. And so they're the ones which I really enjoyed coaching.
How were you there to help these kids that were all standing around wondering about a team?
Right place, right time. And so I got involved with Hornsby Basketball Association. I started basically as a supervisor, but ended up having coaching. And one of the things is that you can know a few areas, but a lot of it is building confidence in the children that are there with you. In other words, working through and letting them know that they can do it.
So these are young kids, are they?
These are age kids, primary school.
Right.
I did coach youth. As well, and the same rules apply. It's building some confidence and building some attitudes. Look good, feel good, play good, attitude, integrity, teamwork. And so we had a kind of thing saying that your word is your bond, and a bad attitude stay at the door, and it's simple as that. Positive.
So coaching them the skills of basketball and the values of life.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's important. I think understanding the aspects of who they are and what they can do. Building confidence.
And how did they develop? Obviously, young kids, they come in, they're a bit lost. You take them through basketball as a bit of a platform for learning other skills, coping and confidence skills. Right.
I think you can actually go, look, you've got a lot of areas of what you can do, but it's letting. I think it's just being there for them when someone needs them. And I've got a a lady which she passed away a few years ago. Her name's Rita Pearson, and she was an African-American educator who believed in educating children for the better. A wonderful person. And I actually listened to a couple of her TED Talks. And so she's kind of like something which came along. But this is early days for myself.
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like to actually not be picked for a team, not to be picked to go here, picked there. And so it's just actually going, hey, come on. And we did have a team when we coached. What do you do? No one wants to coach us. I said, okay, give me. And then I usually love coaching teams that aren't developed. In other words, teams that have never been, try them, encourage them, build them. It always works well.
What happened to some of these young kids?
Well, some of them are still going well. Some are working full time. I've got one gentleman which I'll catch up with next month, and he's actually the very first kid I ever coached. So he's got a family that live over in the Lane Cove. So we will catch up. Families just somehow connected, and 30 years later, he's a grown man, family, and so we'll catch up and touch base at the end of next month. So
that must be incredibly satisfying.
He's also the only kid I ever told him never to play basketball. The story goes, he had a dilemma between soccer and basketball, and I just said, look, let's look at this. Do you like basketball or soccer? Can you get your soccer? So we don't play basketball. And so the others that went on to do quite good things as well in life. And so, yeah.
So that level of satisfaction, is that your legacy or part of it?
I think is getting the tap on the shoulder from people in, you used to coach my son, and I haven't seen him for probably 10 years or something. And you used to coach my son. And then we talk about the olden days of PCYC Hornsby, and the development was to actually build a protective culture and make sure the kids. It's always knowing where you stand. The kids need to be honest, and this is it.
We know kids can be brutally honest. How did you handle that?
Well, I never had really any problems. A lot, I had attitude parents. I didn't have a lot of attitude kids. Well, my kids should be coached. And I said, no. No. And I said to some of the kids, I said, oh, that kid's no good in my, and I said, no. And so we actually learned a routine about language and how to, you're in a team, you help each other, you back each other up, positive with each other. And yeah, that's good. Some of the kids went on to, of course, be their school captain, both high school and primary school. Some are now, of course, out there working in the workforce, and some are running their own businesses and stuff, But it's been able to say, look at me, And I hate the attitude when people go, oh, you poor man. And I said, no, I'm not. I've got $100 in my wallet, so I can't be poor,
Right. Challenging people's perceptions through that. So
it depends. I mean, basically, I didn't have any real cruelty. I mean, as a young kid, yes, people stares, whispers, point at school and everything like that. But the kids I coached, because I think having the confidence, they saw someone that probably had a confidence in them to do something.
That's beautiful, mate. It's interesting. You don't have kids of your own.
No, unfortunately.
Is this your is this that process? You've put that father energy into these kids?
I think so. I haven't coached for a while. I took a big break, and I haven't done the kids at church for a little while. But there's other stories around that, which too much of a long story. But I'll get back to that. But I think looking at it, knowing the success of been there and having support not only from the kids but from the parents. I think it was a trust. I think it was very much they trusted for me to be there to coach,
Very good. Of course, you talked about chaplaincy. So faith is a very important thing. And you mentioned how it helped you, stay positive to get through. So what is faith for you? What does it mean and how does it keep you connected to people?
I think it's being able to trust a loving God to lead and guide through situations. And it's just been there. And I think being able to have other Christians around you to help and pray for you. And yes, I've had a lot of mental strain, mental health issues, a lot of anxiety and stress, not with a skin condition, but other areas of life as well.
Yeah.
But I've got good people around. A good group, of course, is Mentoring Men. And that was very much a saving grace in that way. I've got a few people at church that are church people that will pray that you can ring up and talk to. But I think if we're going through something, especially mental health, mental stress, anxiety, is to reach out and say, hey, I need help. I need you to pray for me. This is what's happening. And unless we admit our needs, then it just keeps building. So I'm grateful. And of course, I think this month, we're in October, is mental health awareness. And so it's not just knowing mental health, any needs, is being able to reach out, say, I need help. And as men, we need to admit, we need help. Talk to someone.
As I hear you when you say that, that anxiety, that constant kind of thread of stepping outside of your comfort zone just to do some things that you have a right to do as a person, as a bloke. How did you keep fronting up to that challenge? How do you, like you mentioned, talking and connecting to people? What was it, what was it like to just constantly have that, have things a little bit harder or a little bit more anxiety or, to understand that you're going to walk out and take a risk, by being out there and exposed?
You never know until you step out of the boat. You can stay in the boat, but you never know until you step out. And I'm grateful because I've got, we lost Dad a few years ago, but always, Dad and Mum always very supportive. I've got two brothers and a sister, always very supportive, always there. And that's very lucky and blessed to have such a loving and supportive family. And that was a big thing. And also building up friendships. But yeah, family is so important, and I'm grateful for the people in my life. I'm definitely grateful family and external family, cousins, etc. But definitely, people being there for me.
Did that allow you to feel like you were supported so you could go into
Oh, yes. Yeah.
into the daily,
Oh, yeah.
mix?
They'd become
Yeah.
part of it. They always ask how's basketball, how's church, and stuff like that. Mum comes to church on Sunday now because she's up on the Central Coast. But yes, having people there, having family there, never underestimate that value of that.
Part of your chaplaincy is involved supporting and reaching out to people and doing one-on-one and stuff like that.
That will be starting soon. I mean, I haven't got a lot in there, but I think I do chaplaincy about knowing I'm doing chaplaincy. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's just listening to someone or just sharing with someone. So officially, although I've got the churches, I'm officially trying to get back into sport with the sports chaplaincy or chaplaincy. But yeah, I think that will downtrack. That will probably be the way to go very soon. But at the moment, I'm just there if someone needs me.
What do you know as a result of having that challenge of sort of walking out with your confidence? You need to bring the confidence rather than looking for acceptance.
Well, the only way is to find out is to keep going. It's to, yes, we need to rest. Yes, we need to take time, but hey, you won't know until you, as I said, you won't know what's going to happen until you step out of the boat. You can sit in the boat, or you can step out of the boat. And so if we look, we never know until we try something. And one of the things is when I coach kids, I said, I don't want to hear the word can't. I said, unless you show me that, don't use the word can't, because we don't know. Yeah, so we're not going to be silly, but the simple things we can learn from.
I love the idea, Brad, that like the world has presented some of its hard face or cruel face to you, and you're aware of that. What has also been loving and good? What's good in the world for you?
Good people, being able to go to work, being able to share with friends, being able to go to church, being able to go to the beach, being able to go for a drive, being able to, enjoy life. Just enjoy it. Yes, there's going to be difficult times. Yes, there's going to be struggles. Yes, there's going to be times when you probably don't even want to get out of bed, or there's been times when you feel that there's just, no, but the whole thing is don't stop living life. Don't stop. Keep going and look after yourself. One of the big things which I've gotten, which kind of like I've neglected a bit, is self-care, because I've always looked after others or trying to care for others, and they go, self-care. If you don't look after yourself, you're no good to anybody.
Self-care, mate. There's a lot, it's been thrown around a little bit. What would you offer, if a bloke's come to you and they're saying, mate, you've obviously developed a way to keep going and to stay in the game, and they're saying, what do I do to self-care? What would be your suggestion?
I think one of the things is to stop what's happening and just stop for a few minutes or whatever it is. Take a break, get some people around you, and look after yourself, and don't be too proud if someone comes to you and says, hey, listen, how about I take you out to lunch? Or how about I come and sit for a coffee, or things. Don't be too proud to not accept some help. If people notice something, and more likely people will say, pardon the person, but someone might come and go, gee, you look crap, and then accept that. Say, hey, listen, you don't look good. Dude, what's going on? Stop, have a coffee, sit down, something. Or just go and do something you enjoy. Hey, look, if you're feeling frustrated, maybe get a golf stick and go and hit a golf driving range,
That'd tip me over the edge, I'm afraid. So.
Anyway, that's fine.
What are your mindset tips?
I don't really have a lot, I think it's just finding something you enjoy.
So being positive in life is part of that. I can see that in you. You're constantly positive every time we meet or whatever. How do you like that's it must be a choice you make.
Oh yeah. It's maybe just I shared with some people this morning. Yeah, so going through this, but hey, maybe the other person just needs to be encouraged as well.
Yeah, but you can sit in your misery and not do that. Why do you choose to do it? Right.
I think it's choice, just the way it is. It's just me.
So you are constantly making the choice to connect and step up for others, right? Does that feel like a life well lived? Does that make you happy?
Oh yeah, I think if you know that you've impacted someone on that day, or sometimes, it's just me.
Thank goodness it's just you, mate. Right. So, thank goodness you make those choices. People are helped by that and coached by that. So, what do you see is important for the world from your exploration of the world? From your unique perspective, what would you like to see the world adopt or take on or head towards?
I'm not sure. I don't really have something for that. It's just everyone has an individual thing, and just enjoy it.
And what do you hope people take away from listening to you?
Just go out, enjoy life. Yes, there'll be obstacles. Don't stop. Just keep going. Life is enjoyed and takes people along for the ride.
What are you hoping your future holds?
I think to retire, to enjoy, and just to ensure that I look after myself, to keep going, and just enjoy life. Yeah.
That's brilliant, mate. Final message to people who, like all those kids that you've had such an impact on over years, right? Final message to people who might need some confidence or are facing a personal challenge or something. What would you?
I think there are personal challenges, and there will be roads ahead that will be bumpy. Make sure you have the right people around you. Make sure you get people that you can talk to. But whatever you do, have confidence in yourself. Trust God. Pray. But don't stop. Don't stop. Just keep going, because things will get better. Things will actually improve. But don't stop. Don't stop living life. And if you need help, get help. Don't be too proud to go and say to somebody, "Can you help me? This is what's happening." Okay, but don't stop living life, and just make sure that you know there are organisations, groups, and people and friends out there that can help.
Fantastic message, Brad. Mate, congratulations on all that you have achieved personally, but staying connected and being a connected individual that is helping other people connect, right? It's really impressive, my friend.
John, thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it, and all the best to everybody who's listening. Take care.
Yeah, fabulous.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Connecting Seniors, a Kintsugi Heroes special series. Thank you to Colin Lilly for permission to use Broken as our theme music for this series. If you enjoyed this conversation, share the podcast with a friend and let us know by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support Kintsugi Heroes and the stories we share, head to kintsugiheroes.com.au and follow the instructions to make a tax-deductible donation. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.